Hey everybody, it's me, Angela Walters, and welcome back to another weekly live chat. I get on here every Thursday at 3 p.m. Central and just talk about quilting stuff and answer your questions live. And if you're watching live, thank you so much for joining me. Jessica is here, as always, behind the camera, monitoring the chat, and she'll give me any of your questions at the end, and I can answer those for you. If you're not watching live, no worries. You can just leave your questions in the comment section, and I get on there from time to time and answer them, or other quilters are so generous to help out. If you haven't been a part of one of my live chats, usually I get on here and talk about something quilting related. Usually there's some kind of topic, but today's a little bit different. It's still quilting related, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Build a Quilt, which is our Block of the Month program. Give you a little bit of like kind of behind the scenes of what goes together with that. And one lucky viewer is going to win a registration for the Build a Quilt. So what you have to do is after the live chat is over, leave a comment in there on the video, and I'll pick a winner in next week's live chat, okay? So this one's open to everybody, even if you're not watching live. So about this time every year, I start designing fabric collections or fabrics for our Block of the Month program. There's something about my personality where I like to obsess and really dive into something and make it as complex and as fun as it can be. So when we started doing a Block of the Month program, we thought it would be fun to have different colorway options, really kind of allow you to create your own build a quilt experience. And so it's not like your normal Block of the Month, so I'm going to show some details and kind of show it off. It's kind of like my baby, right? A lot of work goes into it, but I'm super excited about it. Build a Quilt only opens once a year. So it's like the registration is now open, the window is there, and I'm kind of excited to hear what you all think about it. So first of all, the link in the description box will take you right to all the information I'm going to show you. And when you're looking at it, or when I'm talking about Build a Quilt, really it's a Block of the Month program. It has 10 blocks I design, but in 3 different colorways. So I'll show them to you here in a little bit, but these are all the fabrics that are going to make up our 3 Build a Quilt options. So first of all, there's different ways to participate. If you don't know, we have a quilt shop in Liberty, Missouri, so we have some different options whether you live in the area or even internationally. First of all, the one-time registration fee covers the pattern and the fabric for the blocks. That's usually a question I get asked. Oh, is there multiple? Do you have to pay monthly? You don't. Just one fee and you're done. So we have the in-store option. That's for those of you that live in the area and want to come to our monthly Build a Quilt block meetings and get your fabric and pattern. But we also have an online option where we'll mail it to you. So if you don't live in the area, but you still want to, build the quilt with us, we can do that. And we also have an international option. So for those of you that don't live in the US, that one's just a little bit different. Instead of sending out the monthly blocks, you'll get your fabric all in December, and then we'll email you the patterns monthly. So just to help simplify that whole shipping process. So far, it's pretty much like your normal Block of the Month, right? Except the main difference is we have 3 different colorway options. And what I love about it is it shows that the same quilt block can look totally different depending on the fabric that you're using. So every year when I sit down and I think about, okay, I'm going to design the fabrics for Build a Quilt, I put really a lot of thought into it. I try to have one that reads more, I'll say feminine, one that's a little bit more neutral, and then one that's kind of a wild card. So in the past, we've done like a Christmas fabric or whatever. My thought is to have 3 distinct different options so that, maybe if you don't like pink, you can find one that you like. So really coming up with the 3 fabric collections is quite the process. Jessica has been listening to me whine and wail the last few months, like, oh, I can't get these colors to work, but finally it all did come together and I'm excited to show it off. Now, even if you're like, I don't want to do a Build a Quilt Block of the Month, no problem. These fabrics will eventually be on the website. So even if you just want to look at some pretty fabric, that's totally great. So the 3 colorways, I'm going to go ahead and introduce them to you. The first one is Blush and Bloom. Now this one is kind of for me. I like the pinks and the navies, a little bit of charcoal. It's sweet, but kind of sassy. I just kind of liked how it looked with those bold prints. When I'm designing the fabric, what kind of adds a new wrinkle to it, or a little bit of a challenge, which I like, is I'm designing these prints with an actual block in mind. I'm plugging them into the quilt block. I'm making sure that they work together. Because it's one thing just to pick, 12 beautiful prints, but it's another thing to make sure, oh, are the scales going to work together? Are the colors going to work together? So now I do have an obsessive or overthinking personality, so maybe I do think a little too much. But here we can see the different prints in it. So, some nice big florals and some pretty little blenders and really kind of fun prints there. Each of the colorways has 9 prints. That's not for any other reason except that's what I kind of landed on years ago, so we just kind of keep it that way. So you have your background and you have your focal print, and you can see here the blocks colored in that colorway. Again, I think fabric is just so fun. I mean, we know that because we're quilters, but just where you use those colors can really change the look of those blocks. And I probably should note that these are 12-inch blocks too. So there is the Blush and Bloom color option. The second colorway is Embellish. Now I really do like this one too. We're talking golds and some taupes, a little bit of gray. I wanted the kind of classic yellow gray look, but I don't know, a little bit more taupey, if that's a word. I didn't go to art or design school, so I make up my own artsy words, and I feel like taupey might be it. So you can see the prints in that colorway here. So some more florals, but a little bit, with the different colors, some golds, not your typical yellow. So loving those, pretty fun. Now this next one, and you can see the blocks in the embellished colorway there. Now I should say, if you are interested or you're like, I just want to see what you're talking about, the link in the description box actually has all this information that you can check out. Now this one is so funny. It's pumpkin season. So Joni, if you've done Build a Quilt, Joni is our Build a Quilt for a woman. She kind of heads that up. I do all the design, all of that kind of pattern writing, but she actually makes sure people get their blocks. And she really kind of pushed me to do a fall theme this year. And I kind of fought it because it's just not my style in general, but it was a little bit of a challenge to kind of push myself outside of my comfort zone. So if you're wanting to grow creatively, just pick a project that is a little bit outside your comfort zone. But this one gives you fall vibes all year long. So I was trying to put together a fall inspired collection with those beautiful like red oranges and that kind of green, but wasn't like screaming literal fall, I guess. And so kind of pulling together the colors. This collection took me the longest time to put together. I really struggled with it, but finally it's done, and I really am excited with how it looks. And we actually launched Build a Quilt yesterday, kind of like a soft launch, and by far and away, this is the most popular so far. So shocked me. So I don't know. I'm interested to know which colorway you like best. So here you can see the prints from there. Now I've kind of enlarged some of them so you can see them on your screen, but just know like they look really pretty, and it's so hard to show you what that red orange looks like. This is not going to really help you either, but that red orange on the screen, because sometimes it reads really red, but it's just a pretty soft color. Anyway, and so here we can see the colors or the blocks in those colorways. So basically when you sign up, you're going to pick how you want to participate and then choose your colorway. Sometimes some people will do multiple if they're feeling, 2 different colorways. But the thought is, again, you can have something that kind of fits your style, your preferences. So with those are the colorways. Once Build a Quilt starts, it actually starts in November, and we'll talk about those dates here in a second. But you'll start getting your monthly block kit. So that has the fabric that you need to make the block and the pattern. And like I said, this is all exclusive to us. I do all of the writing and designing. It's so much fun because I love quilting and editing videos, but this just uses a different side of my brain. So one of the really cool things that we have the capability to do is to put all the fabrics that you need for a block on one piece of fabric. Since we produce our own fabric here, it allows me to put extra fabric in there because I use up the whole width and just keeps everything together. So pretty unique and a fun option. Plus, it just kind of helps prevent us from making cutting mistakes. So once the monthly block kits start going out, you get your kit every month, and then you can make it and show it off on our Facebook group and have a good time with it. So Build a Quilt actually starts in November, so next month, which is crazy because we just wrapped up last Build a Quilt last month. And these are just the dates that those block kits will go out, and then also when we'll have our meetings. So the one thing that's a little bit different is we take off May. So we do November through April, take off May, because May is just so busy, and usually we have other Build a Quilt stuff going on or other things going on, and then resume back. So that's kind of when those dates would happen. Another thing that makes it a little different is we don't give you the layout with your blocks. In April, we announced the optional layout kits for your blocks. So I don't know why, we just thought it would be fun, Joni and I, to have 3 different layout options, right? Kind of goes together, 3 color options, 3 layout options. So depending on your color and your layout, you're gonna get a totally different look. These are announced in April. I do have some examples to show you. They might change. I don't think they will, but you don't hold me to this. But it gives you all the fabric and the pattern to make your quilt top, not including the blocks, which you already have. So that's always a big push in April. It's always fun to show what they are and allow our Build-A-Quilters to order them. I don't know why 3, I just think it's just a fun number, but I try to come up with designs or patterns, one that's quicker, a little bit more beginner friendly, one that's kind of middle of the ground, and then one that is not necessarily difficult, but maybe might be more piecing intensive. So this one is actually a reworking of a previous year's finishing kit, and it's one of my all-time favorites because I love the little pieces in it. But this one is going to take a little bit of time to put together. It's so worth the effort, but it's going to have those pieces there. But then for maybe a quicker option or a more simplified piecing process, we're going to have this one. So I love the classic bear paw and just kind of playing with those prints. I'm trying to use, make a not scrappy looking quilt, but incorporate the prints in that layout. So that's one that I'm thinking of. And then this one, I don't know, I think I'm going to keep it. I like it. It's half rectangle triangles, so something a little different. But all the blocks themselves are not complicated in how they go together. They're pretty straightforward piecing, but we also have little Build-A-Quilt meetings and we answer your questions. So if you're struggling, we can definitely help you. If you don't know, I should have Joni on here sometime. Wouldn't that be fun? That would be super fun. I can introduce you to her. So Joni, like I said, handles our Build-A-Quilt Block of the Month. She's a retired home ec teacher. So we are like 2 sides of the same coin. So she's over here, very precise piecer, very particular. And then I'm like, I don't even iron my blocks. And then she goes crazy. No, I'm just kidding. So she has a heart for teaching, and we'll definitely make sure that you get what you need to be successful with that. All right, couple little extras for our Build-A-Quilters. Some other things that over the years we've realized have helped. For instance, we have what we call oops kits. These are fabric panels that have a square of each of the fabrics in the colorway, so that if you make a mistake, which, come on, it happens, especially me, like last time I cut in my very first block and made a mistake, or if you want to substitute a fabric. So like if you don't like one of the fabrics I used in the block, don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. No, you could if you wanted to, I guess. But you could customize it and put your own fabric in there. So those are available as well. And so if you're interested, you can check that out. So like I said, there's downloadable info sheets. So it has everything that you need to know on the website. It has all the information, the dates, depending on which way you're participating, whether it's inline, international, online, not inline, online, international, or in-store. And I also put together, for the first time this year, I had like a thought like, oh, let's do this. It's a downloadable PDF with the prints of that colorway and an example of the blocks in that colorway if it helps you make the decision. So you can definitely download those as well. Now, another thing we have, and really one of the things about Build-A-Quilt, we like to make a little community, right? So we have our Facebook group and we show pictures, and when I'm writing the patterns, or if I have room, I'll give you examples on how to change it up, and we have a really good time. But Build-A-Quilters are pretty good about letting me know what they want, and over the last few years, they've said they really want quilting diagrams. So that's another facet of it that you can check out next year. So the quilting diagrams where, I show you some options for quilting those blocks at the end of the Build-A-Quilt year. So just a little bonus there. We also have sometimes exclusive products, or we'll have special deals for our builders. It's just an all-around good time. So like I said, it's kind of off topic. I mean, it's not machine quilting related, but it only happens once a year that it opens up for registration. So if you're interested, this is the time to do it. Registration will close in November, so be sure you check that out if you're interested in it. But like I said, one lucky quilter that's viewing will win their Build-A-Quilt registration. So I'll pick one at next week's live chat. You'll be able to pick your online, in-store, international, and your colorway. So it'll be kind of a fun little giveaway. Now, like I said, I know that's not quite what we normally talk about, but I'm looking forward to doing Build a Quilt again this year, and I appreciate you listening to me talk about my fabrics and the process that goes behind it. I see Jessica over there writing very, very quickly, so I'll answer your questions there as well. So a couple things that are coming up in the future. The next Free Motion Challenge Quilting Along, I'll be announcing that within the next few weeks. We are getting all the final pieces together, and super excited to show you what that looks like, and then go over that stuff. All right. Good questions. Do I sell stencils for free motion quilting? I don't. And I've thought about it. Like, I really would like to, but I'm not sure the process of how to do that. Maybe this might be like the push to get me to do that. What I would really like to do is come up with stencils that are specific to the Free Motion Challenge Quilting Along panel. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, this one goes in that block. So I'll keep that in my list to do. I always tell people if they suggest something, like, I'll put it on the list. It's a long list, but I might get it done. Should a flannel backing be washed if used with a cotton top? I wouldn't worry about it unless you're washing the fabric, unless the fabric in the quilt top is washed. I think if you're going to wash one, you should wash all. I don't wash any, so that's just my opinion. I would love to hear if anybody has a different opinion. You can leave it in the comments and let us know. For Build a Quilt, is there enough fabric to pre-wash? Yes, there is. So I give extra fabric for the panel, and what's nice is you can wash the whole panel, iron the whole panel, and then cut, so you don't have all those little pieces that are going to unravel. So yes, definitely. What is my tip for working with a minky backing? Minky is such a fun backing because it has that cuddly, and it keeps you warm. It shows off the quilting but not the thread, so if you're having tension problems, it's perfect. There's not a whole lot of differences there. If you're working on a long arm though, you have to be careful that you don't stretch it too tight. It's a natural tendency of quilters to want to tighten that quilt top, and what happens is if you over tighten it, when you take it off of the frame, it's going to curl back up on itself, and that has happened to me before, and it's sad when that happens. So don't over tighten it. On a sit down sewing machine, I would just take your time. It's going to be a little bulkier, but just kind of take your time and work through that. But other than that, it's going to be pretty much the same experience. So a lot of fun. Is there enough wiggle room in the fabric for Build a Quilt to be able to best press or starch? Yes. If you want to starch your little heart out, you can definitely do that. So when I position figure out how much fabric to give for each block, I include cutting directions in the pattern so you can, or cutting diagrams so you can see how to cut it. But I also give extra fabric, so it's just a little bit of wiggle room. I need lots of wiggle room in my life because I tend to make plenty of mistakes. Are the Build a Quilt patterns sold separately? Oh, this is a big one. I didn't even think to talk about that. No, they're not. It's all together. It's like a package deal. Maybe sometime in the future we might do something like that, but for now I got enough on my plate just keeping it the way it is. So the answer is not now. Maybe in the future. We'll see. Oh, good. Another question. What is the finished size of the quilts? I meant to discuss that. The finished size is going to range depending on the layouts. I don't have the exact measurements, but I usually try to do one that is kind of full queen and then one that's a little bit bigger. So I kind of try to have 3 different sizes. It's kind of like Goldilocks and the Bears, right? And then also the price ranges as well. The price will range anywhere from $80, $84.99 to $119, I think is what I put on there. So depending on the size. Usually that's the big reveal in April. But the cool thing about the blocks is they're 12-inch blocks. So you can plug them into any pattern that you might have that already uses 12-inch blocks. And so you can customize it in that way as well. Another thing I forgot to mention is when the layout kits come out, we also have optional backing fabric and coordinating threads. So try to make it nice and easy all the way around. I want to do 2 different colors. Do I pay 2 full registration fees? Yes. You'll just sign up for 2 separate ones, and then we'll send them out to you. The one thing that's a little bit different is if you sign up for 2 Build-A-Quilts, you'll get 2 envelopes in the mail. But it's like 2 pieces of happy mail, right? It's both good news. So yes, you'll pay for 2 registration fees. And listen, if you get into it and you have questions or you're like, I don't understand what you're talking about because you're talking too fast, you can always contact us on the website. We'll be happy to answer those questions. Speaking of website, just got a new website last week. I talked about that, so check it out and let me know what you think in the next live chat. I'd love to see what you think about it. It's so fun and new, but we're just kind of still getting used to it. It's like moving into a new house. Anyway, I do appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me every week. I sure love chatting with you about quilting stuff. If you like this video or you've liked any of the videos I've put together, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. That just lets YouTube know that other quilters should find it as well. And I'll be back next week, next Thursday, 3 p.m. for another live chat. Topic to be determined, but I'll definitely come up with something machine quilting related. And if you're free, usually about a half an hour before I go live, I get onto the video and I type chat and we all just kind of chat, or I'll answer questions that are kind of quick and easy, or if there's a really good question, I'll use it during the live chat. So be sure to check that out. I hope you all have a great week, and I hope all of our quilters that are in the South, I hope that everybody that was affected by the hurricanes is doing okay. Crazy stuff going on. So everybody be safe, and I'll see you next week. Until then, happy quilting.